So again, guys, it's going to be just a couple more minutes because I can see the, and oh, there it goes. All right. According to the laptop behind JP over there, it looks like we are live. So welcome to the January 28th, 2026 Planning Board meeting. Apologies for being a week late, but we wanted to make sure we met the advertisement requirements per the ordinance for Mr. Godomsky. So with that, we have almost a full board. Jim is absent tonight, so we will go ahead and start. We're going to open the public hearing. As always, please be courteous. Raise your hand, state your name. Let us know if you live in Parsonsfield or not. We're going to try to get to everybody. Try to go back and forth between everybody. But we'll start with Chris, if you want to give a little bit of an overview of the project.
Yeah, we're building a small country store across the street in my hayfield. It is a permitted use as a neighborhood convenience store. And we are looking to also include cannabis in our provisions that are not available. And to do that, we have to go through this process.
Actually, I'm sorry, I'm Skelly Snow, as attorney. Actually, this is only for the cannabis store. Yes, this is only the cannabis store application. The store is separate.
Okay. Thank you.
That was more so for my neighbors that are interested to hear what's going on. So it will be a country store that sells more than just cannabis. However, it will be cannabis.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. We'll open it up for questions, comments, concerns. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Yes, sir.
You're going to regret saying that. I apologize if I ramble a little bit, but my name is Walter Schott. I live down the street here on North Road. I think we find ourselves here due to a lack of foresight and due diligence on the part of the elected officials here in town. We shouldn't be here. This gentleman should have had an opportunity to put his business somewhere where it has an opportunity to succeed. I don't believe here on North Road, in the middle of nowhere, that a commercial business is truly going to be able to operate and succeed. However, I appreciate this gentleman's, level of spite, shall we say, to open this business because we wouldn't let him put it where it belonged. And really, as a town, I think we did him a disservice. And so, I can appreciate that. You won't let me put it where it should be or where I want to. Well, I'll put it where nobody wants it. Virtually next door to the town hall. It's going to be part of what Parsonsfield is all about. It won't give Parsonsfield an opportunity to just be what we've always been. And again, some of that's short-sightedness on the residents for not looking at the zoning and going, well, this is not a good thing. When they wrote the bylaw to have these opportunities, because there's a couple other strange village rural places where someone could, I guess, stick a pot shop. Again, not that I think it's going to be commercially viable. So having said that, I think if he plays by the rules, he should have the opportunity to open his business, because I think we as a town did him a disservice in the beginning. Having said that, living on this road, and I don't know if you guys have the ability to do this, but something needs to be done about the traffic and the speed. And I don't know if that means speed bumps, but nobody obeys the posted speed limits now. And if we're going to double, triple, quadruple the amount of traffic on this road because it's business, there should be some requirements that he does something to keep us all from getting killed. I walk up and down the road, and I would say once every other week, I'm this close to being dead because people don't pay attention. And really, I don't care. I'm kind of a little bit in the road because they should slow down. And so that's basically what I'd like to say.
Thank you. Anybody else? Again, speak now, forever hold your peace. Yes, ma'am.
Marnie Rollerson, and I just had a question initially, because any emails that were sent, will they be read here?
So they won't be read word for word. They have been sent out to the board members to review, and they will be acknowledged under correspondence.
Okay,
So,
not shared this evening.
no, they'll be part of the file. If you'd like to stand up and read your letter, please feel free.
I should have printed it, because evidently you didn't get it.
I did get
Did
it,
you just get it?
but I was having issues with the internet, and that printer's not connected to this internet, so I can't print it.
I get it.
But yes, it was received.
Okay.
And again, are there any highlights that you would like to touch on?
Sure. I'll have to pull this up.
Is the meeting still open?
It is.
Hi, my name is Jeff Wright, Parsonsville. I was just going to ask Chris, if there wasn't a 750-foot setback, would you have been able to put a marijuana shop or cannabis shop in Keys Falls?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna skim through my letter, because it's kind of, it's a little lengthy. And again, I'm Marnie Rollerson, my land directly abuts Chris's land, and it's clear cut right up to my line. I've learned an awful lot in the last couple of weeks or so about conditional use permits and whatnot, which I know nothing. But my concerns are obviously personal and procedural as part of the application. I'll start by saying, like, my personal concerns are the increased traffic, the motion sensor lights that will undoubtedly be shining right into my bedroom, the security of the area, the oversight of safety and security and whatnot. Because once this gets approved, I mean, who does oversee any of this? Me from my bedroom window? I mean, I don't know, it's a little concerning. Because I don't know how this is going to impact the quality of life that I have and have had for nearly 30 years living here in Parsonsville. And this is such a drastic jump for our village residential area. And we know this. And I think the proximity for that particular business to this particular space, the town office, is a conflict of interest. It's something that I just, for all of the civic activities that happen here, the youth programs and whatnot, it just doesn't, there's a disconnect there between that business. And I don't think you can kind of pretty it up a little bit with a country store. That's just my honest feelings. I have nothing personal against Chris, so I'm telling you that right now as somebody, we chatted a little bit. I don't know you, you don't know me. I like a peaceful existence in my space. And I'm very worried about that. In terms of the application, some specifics that I highlighted in my letter refer to some things that felt as though they were incomplete. And that had to do with the well and the sewer or septic. And let's see, I'm pulling this up right now. So, capacity of sewage and water supply systems to accommodate the proposed use. The applicant, there's been no proof of adequate water supply for the proposed private well. There's like no test well, yield analysis, hydrogeologic study, anything like that. Has not been done. I didn't see in the application a design for a septic system. I didn't see anything, regarding the storm drainage system, other than the description of the site being slightly sloped to the east and will include a drainage diversion ditch on the east side. I think that's the one that we saw out there that you dug the trench like on the outside. Is that what that?
That's the existing one, but that won't have the capacity to handle the building, so there will have to be further grading of the schools.
Okay, because that was clearly something that was a concern of mine as well, because as we know, historically, we've had some pretty serious flooding. I attached pictures to my document, I guess it was DOT who came in, did work on the ditches, put rocks, they put like a kind of like a reservoir, kind of like little pond kind of thing, or to catch water before it came to my house. It didn't work. When that work was done in October, so the flooding happened in July of '23, October DOT came in, and then in March, with a heavy rain and some melt, it just completely overflowed that, and still, my property was flooded, pretty dramatically, and that was a fast hitting storm. And of course, we're gonna have storms that we have issues like that, but this creates greater concern for me and my property, that water that's been diverted, which I think all of this other culvert work that came from across the street and diverted water in different directions, kind of pipelined it our way. And then, I say our, because Travis is pipelined too. But I'm concerned about that. It flows right through my property and, the stream, I have a little bridge out there. There's a lot of concern that I have regarding that being so close. And I would want to know if this is going to be further graded and whatever, like who is doing that work? And I would want to have a site walk so people could see this. I don't know if that was going to happen, or was it tabled, or?
So for the site walk, we decided not to have a site walk because there's no building to visit and look at for ventilation and all that stuff right now.
Okay, but at some point, there should be before approval of this, because it isn't just about the building.
Right.
Right, because you kind of need to see the lay of the land a little bit, where the stream, unless that is not the way things work, I just.
Sure. Hold on just a second. I want to make sure I get the wording right. Let's- So I can't find it. So there's, from what I can see right here, the 2.5 pages for conditional use, which is what this is, there's nothing in there as a requirement for a site walk. There would be a requirement for a site plan review, which, depending on how you move forward with the store itself, like not the cannabis side, but the rest of it, that would require a site plan. That's a different phase, let's say.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but for the site plan as well,
It's
there's a
May.
snow condition.
So the snow condition's only on the subdivision. I mean, I wouldn't want to go out and treat a snow like we have right now. I believe it says may hold a site walk. I don't think it's a shall hold a site walk if you look at the site plan review.
I got a question.
Could you state your name first, please?
Ian Clark, 653 North Road here.
Yep.
Which coming first, the store or the cannabis side?
It's one building.
Okay,
It's one small building. We're talking 1,500 square feet.
okay, so if you don't get the cannabis approved, right, in the store?
The store is being built regardless.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. One of my concerns site-wise is everything that drains ends up my land, my back. And I've had erosion, I fight erosion constantly. When I moved here back in 81, I guess, 82, little pathway here, then the state came through and did culvert work and dumped it, and everybody had, well, it's the easiest place to go downhill.
Right.
To where I got gas, I can walk across now. And it's just gonna get worse. That's my concern with the drainage and where it goes and what it does. And how fast when it rains, it comes. Yeah. No flood. There's areas that I used to pasture, used to drive a tractor on there in the lowlands there. These acres I can't do it in. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Jay Berger, 597 North Road. What's the process for this application? How does this get approved? Or
So he needs to obtain a conditional approval from us, yay, nay, with conditions. And then from here, it goes to the select board, and the select board is the licensing body. So without an approval from us, he wouldn't go to the select board.
The approval is just the majority of the planning board, majority of the select.
So Jen, you can speak for the selectmen, but yes, it would be a motion and a vote, and it would have to be a majority vote of the planning board. Same with the select board?
Correct. Met all the conditions of the
Yep.
ordinance on that.
Right. Yes, sir.
I just want to add to what Stan said. That land, I've lived over there for 32 years, and that's a bog there. It's just that the trees have all been cut, and Mark around the corner there graded it all. That's a wet piece of property.
Okay.
And that bog drains into a bog on our property, which connects to the big bog on his property. Base of Merle Hill, comes down by Stan's, goes down across Merle Hill Road. That's a wet piece of property.
So he's gonna build this building, whether we let him sell pot out of it or not. What if any input do we as the public have on the building of that building, the retail space?
If it's an allowed buildable building that the code enforcement officer can issue a building permit for, as far as I know, there's nothing we can do to stop the building.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Ken? Would you agree?
Yeah.
JP, you were,
Anything that's, usually anything that's commercial comes to the planning board.
right. But the building itself, whether, I mean, he could build a building over a barn, a garage, a house, as long as he gets a building permit from you or Norm.
But to open a retail establishment, like to sell milk and cookies,
Yeah.
we'd
That,
have to come before the planning board again.
yeah, so,
We'd have yet another opportunity to voice our concern.
correct. JP?
So just a clarifying question, and I understand I have to speak to the board and not to the public, but like, I'm just trying to suss this out. Like, I think that, well, I agree with this gentleman over here that the ideal location for any business probably is on the outskirts of town like this. Like, it would have been Kingsford Falls. I think we can all recognize that. However, we're here where we are because of how things transpired. Now, I completely understand the concern for the wetland area or the water flow. I have wetland on my property as well. I'm up on Mudgett. But, you know, just rational wise, he's cleared the property now. You know, and he was allowed to do that. And now you're gonna have greater water flow than you'll ever have had before. Ever. Just rationalized. If he doesn't do anything to improve that property, he will. I think that's 100% gonna happen. Now, if he improves the property through the planning board and his permitted use, he's gonna have to have a water distribution plan, and it's gonna have to be inspected and stuff like that. And the town will have to be involved to enforce that along with the CEO. So you guys will have to have your concerns addressed in that. Now, I just, I don't see that as a barrier for his business, like, because it's something that, you know, is right now, in its natural state, having had those trees cleared, gonna cause you guys more problems than it will be as an improved lot. I get the traffic and the other environmental concerns from that, but just from the wet stance, you know, like the water flow stance, that, I'm trying to understand that. So like, I think that, you know, like we as a town, we made a plan, right? Pretty recently, and we published that, a vision of what we want Parsonsville to be for the next 10 to whatever years. And, you know, this ordinance, you know, I was in the initial draft of this ordinance, and it did not end up being close to what the initial draft was. The select board big hand in that. And because of that, you know, like, we're stuck in situations where businesses, small business owners, are trying to open businesses in the only places that they're allowed to do it. You know, and I understand that it's not comfortable for the citizens, because we don't want things to happen next to us. I think this is just a combination of piss poor planning for the future, and we got to make the best of what's allowed. Now, I believe a man should be able to, a man or a woman, excuse me, should be able to do what is legally allowed to do with their land. And it sounds like this meets the check marks. That's just my 2 cents.
All right. What I would like to know, those check marks in terms of sewer and well and all of that, what has to happen for it to be approved by the majority here? Not just Chris saying, oh, I'm gonna get somebody to come over and do X, Y, and Z. So what has to happen?
So after we close the public hearing, we of course have other agenda items, but we will come back to this. We will go through everything that they've submitted and make sure that it's in line with what the ordinance says. If it doesn't meet the checkbox, it doesn't meet the checkbox. If it meets the checkbox, but we feel it needs to have more, we can add a condition to it. The board can approve with conditions, or deny. Those are our 3 options.
But then, so the conditions though, who continues the oversight of that?
The code enforcement officers.
You know, a big part of this too is trust and what people are going to do what they say they're going to do. And when you don't know individuals and it's your property that's right next to it and you've had flooding issues and whatnot, and you're absolutely right, since it's been clear cut, yeah, trees are falling down, it's wetter, it's all those things. And when you see water just rushing towards your house and across your yard and moving your cars and you end up with all of this road debris in your yard, it's just, it's. I would prefer to be assured that people are going to do what they're supposed to do in terms of oversight and not just say, okay, approved with conditions and then off somebody goes to do whatever it is that they're going to do because they own their land.
So there are other avenues as well. So let's say hypothetically, this is approved with conditions. You feel that the conditions aren't being met. You have the right to appeal the application to the zoning board of appeals. You can go to the code enforcement officer and you can go to the select board. There are a bunch of different things that can happen here. The planning board is tied to what the ordinance says. And if he checks all the boxes, if we have to add conditions, that's what the planning board is tied to. We're tied to what this book says.
And an additional thing with the land, if somebody could enlighten me on this, the buffer zone from that clear cut area up to my property, was there supposed to be something left there for this proposed business or something else done? Or are they just assuming that my section is the buffer to my house and that property? I'm not sure what that entails.
Let's see. Bear with me one second. So again, I'm sorry, nothing jumps right out at me except for section 3. So Article 4 conditional use, section 3C, the natural characteristics of the site, including topography, drainage, and relationship to ground and surface waters and floodplains, shall not be such that the proposed use when placed on a site will cause undue harm to the environment or to neighboring properties. So again, that's a checkbox that needs to be addressed. Yes, sir.
Clark again. Two things. One, yes, it's worse now. It's gonna be worse once it's done. No matter what anybody wants to say. I built water sewer treatment plants, drainage and stuff my whole life. Spent 50 years doing it. And you always got a problem, we're gonna make it worse. Sometimes it's nice to just, the other concern I have is you got, a little general store there. Look at all the kids on the road that go, may want an ice cream or candy bar or something, go up. I wouldn't want my grandchildren, I have nothing against, I'm anyone else. Everybody wants to do their own business. But I wouldn't want my grandchildren going into a store, with a pot store right next to it. I'm sure, they're gonna have it because it has to have separate entrances and everything else and, can't be tied to it, but it's still there. And those people and I think that's a big thing for everybody to think of.
Thank you.
This is gonna be part of the minutes and part of the thing, or, yes,
Yep, it's,
decisions and everything. And
Facebook Live is up, so everybody can hear and see you, hopefully. The microphones are on, so. Paul, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, Paul Ferris, Planning Board. I've been hearing a few things that seem contradictory. I just want some clarification. The lot was 100% cleared for hay, is that correct? For haying purposes? That's why the code allowed 100% clearing?
Yeah.
And how many seasons were you able to hay off in what I'm hearing is a marsh?
It's freshly planted and it is not a wetland. I know people are referring to it as wet, but it is not a designated wetland.
So you've been able to harvest multiple seasons from it?
No, it's freshly planted. It was just logged.
Okay, so it has not been used to hay yet? You just seeded it?
Nope.
Okay, all right.
And also, just to clear up the water issue, the water is coming from a DOT drainage easement that goes from the side of the road across my bottom corner of my lot and then down behind Marnie's house and then behind the Clarks. So that's where the water is coming from. It's not coming from, no water is being produced on the lot, no more, no less.
There's no spring or anything popping up somewhere?
Zero. And it is gradually slanted, so water does naturally go downhill, I guess, but no more, no less. And the bulk of the water is the DOT drainage easement. And I'd urge you guys to look at the DOT scenario right out front here and right over there because it is a mess. And when I saw Marnie earlier this year, I showed her that the water that is going into her and Travis's house is actually coming from the town hall side of the road that is being channeled directly under the road and comes out just before Marnie's property at the corner of me and Marnie's property. And what we did to alleviate that without talking to her or anything is we just tied that into our channel so that rather than going to their homes, it goes into the DOT drainage easement. So it is not finalized. That is not the final iteration of what will be there for the building. However, it was the goal was to dry the field, keep the field dry and keep the DOT drainage easement from running across the entire space, which is what happened before was there was no channel where the DOT drainage easement fed into to go through my property. All we did was channel it through the property. We didn't touch the start, we didn't touch the end. All we did was keep it from doing this across my property, and now it does that.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, because code authorized you to clear that for haying, does code enforcement, are you required to hay X amount of seasons before it can be used for another purpose?
There's no requirement. I could have logged it and left it stumps for
Okay.
20 years, or I could have done it, and there's no code restriction as far as that.
But you can't just log a property 100% without some sort of penalty unless it's authorized somehow.
Why not?
I understand.
That's
Oh.
the state.
So if it's in tree growth,
It was permitted and it was not tree growth.
Okay.
if the property's in tree growth, there's a tree growth penalty.
Yeah, there was a state permit.
Okay, so I thought it was 40% per year.
No.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I just want to ask Chris, I'm confused. It goes,
The road, it runs down the side of the road,
which side of the road?
both sides of the road.
It doesn't run down from our property.
No, because
It doesn't run down that side of the road. The water comes from the road that you put in to your building.
Mhm.
It comes down that,
it always has.
not like now.
Road there now. It comes with-
And then the culvert goes across the road to where you want to build this building.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, from my property to my property is the way, we didn't put a culvert across the road. It's always been.
It's always been there.
Exactly.
But now there's more water coming through the culvert.
I'm producing 0 water. So
Except
how,
when it rains.
so how is there more water?
Okay. Chris, in 2 years, July of 23,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
All my roads got washed.
there was water from your entrance to your building
Mhm.
down to Marty's and Travis's.
Oh, 100%. There is further.
It's never been,
Bruce
it's
Logan's.
never been like
Yeah.
It's
that.
further than that. I know, I've never seen something like that. Do you know where the water comes from?
My
Yeah.
road got washed out too.
Yeah.
And that piece of property was a bog,
Which one?
the one you just cleared.
What do you? It's
It
not,
was-
it's not designated as a wetland, no.
It doesn't have to be
It's a wetland, but
designated,
it's-
that was a bog.
Wetland.
I've been over that land.
I'm not gonna argue that.
No.
Well-
Yes, if we could get back to, it's a valid concern about the water. I'm hear that. Is there any other questions not related to the water and the drainage at this time? Yes, sir.
My name's Travis Clark, 647 North Road, right next door, back of my property in Butts Creek. And there's a setback requirement for the adult use stores of 750 feet from another marijuana facility, correct?
Yes. So from it,
I think I can answer that.
you answered that in an email earlier, and I wanted to pull up the ordinance as well, to address that.
I'm Jen Lewis. Yes, you're correct. There is a 750-foot buffer type of an area
Yeah.
from another cannabis facility.
Right.
And our ordinance definitions does not include a medical cultivation facility, which I believe Chris has.
And I can also make it even shorter than that. We have divided that lot. So essentially, the lot that the store will be on is included in that survey that you guys have, has been measured and verified to be more than 750 feet from the other lot.
Okay.
Because it may be deceiving, but the lot where my gate is not the lot that my road is on.
Correct. But your,
780.
from your property line at the corner of the tennis court, which is the lot that your facility is on, correct?
Yeah, but this lot across the street has been divided.
It's not on the tax map.
It's been submitted. So,
Can I add one more thing as well? Something that the planning board might want to consider, after just listening to all the comments, is in our comprehensive plan, we talk about doing impact studies. And maybe that might be something that would be considered, impact in terms of everything, traffic, water, in and out of, parking lots, that kind of a thing. I don't know if that's a possibility for the planning board, but it is in our comprehensive plan, impact fees.
Thank you. Back to the split. When was it split?
It was split around the same time that the application was submitted.
Okay.
So it was, it had actually already been split, but it wasn't finalized because it was over the holidays.
Can we get a copy of that?
You have it.
We do? Of the deed?
Both new surveys, I don't know if
Oh, was that that was the, what you'd emailed?
I gave it to you in person when I gave you the septic design, which there has been a septic design already.
It's not part of the application.
It is. Sometimes they don't put it online. I don't know.
Chris, what do you plan on doing with the rest of the land that you have around you?
We're hanging it, and the whole goal is to sell our hay. So we have to be able to sell hay somewhere, and a store would be a perfect spot.
Yeah.
Can you speak up a little bit?
We're going to hay it,
Hay it,
yes,
okay.
and then sell the hay out of the store.
I don't have any plans to build anything else on it.
No plan.
It'll be in here too. It's the original.
I would have to go back to the design. So, they're each. It's not necessarily close, that's close.
Put our hands on that later.
We haven't hired.
Or is that, I don't, so that it's done.
Not necessarily, but, yeah,
And I
and,
didn't know this was.
yeah,
So that was kind of like the.
Yeah.
This is actually.
Um,
But I was still down.
Yeah, he's the admin.
Yes, I actually am aware.
Okay,
So it wasn't.
unless you get that hand.
Yeah.
And of course I don't have it in there. I
You don't
don't
have
even,
it on
I don't
there?
even know why I started looking. All right, we'll find that. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Wait, first, I guess, where do you plan to supply your cannabis store from?
It will just be derived from vendors throughout the state that are in the adult use program. So currently we don't produce adult use cannabis, so we will have to bring that in.
Anybody else? And again, some of you were here last month. Once we close the public hearing, there are no more questions or comments from the public. It is strictly between the board and the applicant. And again, I'll ask, any other questions? Yes, sir.
Is there any setbacks to playgrounds or ball fields for this type of business?
No,
No?
not in the licensing facility requirements.
Questions? Once? Twice?
Make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Anybody second it?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you very much. All right, next we'll move on to correspondence. Right, we submitted the ad for the public hearing notice for tonight. We sent it out on January 5th, and it was published twice on January 14th and January 21st. The abutters notices did go out about tonight's meeting. We did receive emails from Mr. Clark, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Mr. O'Brien, Ms. Rollerson, and Mr. and Mrs. Jang, all either with questions, concerns, or support for tonight's project. We also received an email from Jamie Lowry regarding the Maple Crest Estates, the fire department's answer on our dry hydrant fire pond question. We received from the Board of Selectmen a housing opportunity municipal ordinance development grants. Yeah, they left. We'll have to talk to the selectmen a little bit more about that, see what our involvement is in that. And then the last thing I have for correspondence is, due to Jim's health, he would like to remain on the board, but due to his health and attendance, he doesn't feel comfortable staying on as a voting member. So I would like to propose that we change Jim to an alternate and move an alternate into the regular member position. Keeping in mind that Dan has already been moved and voted as a voting member for the two applications before us tonight. So if we can, I'd like two separate motions. One to move Jim to alternate.
Make a motion, we move Jim Barron
Second.
to alternate.
All in favor? And a motion to move an alternate to voting member.
I make a motion, we make Dan Bushman member.
Second?
Second it.
All in favor? Alrighty, it's official, Dan. We'll ask the select board to change your appointment. So we'll need to get you in to get sworn in again as a regular member versus a alternate. We'll notify them that that was our decision and let them work on the paperwork.
They were here, but
Would his term be the same as Jim's?
So normally it does flip flop. So yes, he would complete Jim's term as regular and Jim would move to Dan's term.
And when was he due up?
Jim, I think, has another
2.
2 or 3 years.
I think so.
So Dan would,
Hey, here we go. Ride or die.
so yeah, Dan would have the opportunity for reelection in a couple of years.
Right.
So that's all the correspondence that I have that came in between the last two meetings. So next on the agenda is review of minutes, the December 17th, 2025 minutes. Denise did have those done early, but I sent them out late.
Yeah, I heard him.
We could have a motion to approve them as they are.
I make a motion, we approve them as they are.
Second? All in favor? Minutes are passed. Next to old business, we'll start off with the preliminary subdivision application, EP Properties, map R13, lot 72.2, Fenderson and Maple Crest Roads, the proposed 10-lot subdivision. Remind everybody, we are on the end of our timeline. We need to approve with conditions, or deny the preliminary plan tonight unless we can get the applicants to agree to an extension, which I don't think is quite fair, but. So again, we have 10 lots on Maple Crest and Fenderson Road. There were a lot of concerns raised at the last meeting. We did get the email through Jamie from the fire department that they feel comfortable that they can get there in time to save any sorts of fire. And they don't require any fire ponds or cistern unless the applicant chooses to install them.
Didn't I mention something about a tank set up in the ground? Thought that was something as well.
Would be the cistern.
Cistern,
Cistern.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
I misunderstood.
Fancy name.
Yeah. We're all laymen around here.
But he seemed happy with your cul-de-sac and how it was laid out. So, yeah, take it away.
So ultimately, I think the biggest thing, and I apologize, I had a conflict at the last meeting with another planning board meeting, so sent one of our principals from BH2M over instead of me, so hopefully
He did good.
he handled everything, I'm sure he did, quite well. One of the biggest items that I noted from the notes that he had on the public hearing was request and discussion through the planning board about adding some street trees. So we have added those to the plan. Desiree, I emailed that to you today and figured it'd be just as easy for a change like that to just bring you copies for throwing those on. So we can, here's a couple of full size for your records, and then can give everybody, it's just on that one sheet, they're called out, depicted on the plan and called out at a 50-foot interval. And here are the rest of them.
Thank you.
You guys require. So, street trees, fire chief also had reached out. I've had a couple of conversations with Maya and the road commissioner. He seemed okay with things, as I had alluded to in my email to him. Tried to characterize our conversations. You know, understandably, I had reached out right at the first of the year, followed back up, and then, you know, that was on the heels of the snow. So
Yeah.
get that he, that may not be a high priority for him right now, but, you know, all indications were that he was, you know, okay with the road location, the driveways. He appreciated that we had the two driveways right here at the corner of Overlook and Fenderson, you know, spelled out note on the plan to come out onto Overlook, and instead of having that many more driveways onto Fenderson. So, you know, with that, you know, I think that was what I had on my list to address, you know, from an engineering standpoint and application, and hopefully, as long as you guys don't have anything major that comes up, can work forward to get a preliminary, and we can get our final application submitted and keep moving forward.
Are you in coordination with?
They wanted to know something about positions of septics and also on
Right,
properties
so
and
that would be on the
distances.
final plan.
Yes, we'll be coordinating with the assessor.
Okay.
At doing
Make
open
sure.
space here, I think it was somewhere in the order of 5 to 10%. I've had it in my notes from last time. With that, where we, most of these lots are right at the 40,000 square foot limit. We could carve some areas out and do that, but ultimately, where this is an open field, we didn't feel that it was really preserving any kind of, you know, substantial wooded buffer between any properties. And in talking with Julie and Eric, you know, they felt like they would prefer to just work with the assessor, come up with an in lieu fee for the open space, and be able to dedicate those funds to something that's, you know, I think more comprehensively beneficial to the community.
Yes. Then I agree with that. I
Yeah.
mean,
One other
carve out.
question, are you using insulation that is currently a government,
Yeah, it all meets whatever code is.
the code?
Meets the
Okay,
standard.
right up to snuff with the code.
A lot of the ones we do now are spray foam. So it's not really much pink insulation anymore, to my knowledge. I think just the bottom of the first floor, and then all the walls and the roof is spray foam, which is whatever the code is.
As long as you're within the code, that's I consider. Thank you.
Remind me how wide the road egress is, and if you mentioned before about having space on either side of the pavement. You know, how much was that space on either side of the pavement for that?
Yeah, that's right on this detail. So what we have essentially is a 25-foot paved area. 20 of that is really going to be dedicated to vehicular traffic with, you know, a striped line there with a 5-foot, you know, bike pedestrian area that's off to the side. On the edge of that will be a 3-foot shoulder, gravel shoulder on each side. So that's it's going to be a fairly substantial, you know, 31 feet worth of pavement and gravel.
All right. So Roger brought up a point. So one of the concerns was where the wells and the septics were going to be placed. I know it depends on where you end up putting the houses. On the final plan, is there going to be a little bit more delineation on where stuff is going to be?
We can do that. We can take an area, yeah, one of these, we've got 2 passing test pits on each lot. Take one and, try and carve out some areas that would be well exclusion zones. So, or conversely, depending on the plan, we would show an area where a well is suitable. So, I mean, we can definitely add those onto a final plan.
We can figure out our distances from neighbors well. and
Typically, it's
septic.
100 feet to, between a septic system and a drinking water well, so.
Question, it is able to vary a little
Yeah,
based on the size of the house.
Right.
Yeah, we know it's not gonna be set in
Trying to do what I'm calling an average house, 1,500 square feet, but if somebody came up and said, I'd like you to build a 2,000 square foot home.
Right.
I will. I
Yeah.
just,
Gotta move it a little bit.
Yeah.
Want to make sure it's not an exact, like it has to go here.
No, it's more to just give us an idea of how things are going to
Line up.
somewhat
Yeah,
look like
Absolutely.
versus giving you an open field to do whatever you want, Yeah,
Carte blanche, no.
right, yeah, we're not doing that. If we, like you said, if you think the house is gonna be 1,500 square feet, but you put a 2,000 square foot square on the plan of this is like the biggest footprint you think you might do, and the well's gonna go X spot kind of thing, just so we have an idea on.
Yeah, so that should be a good idea. Average them at 2,000 square feet, which I know is more than what we're gonna build.
Right.
Are those designated wet areas that you have on the map?
Yes,
Yeah.
these are 2 delineated wetland areas.
Another concern that came up later was where the driveway on Maple Crest is going to be. Now, I know driving by the entrance where the garage is very wide there. I guess,
It'll be closed up to a 14-foot driveway.
right. So I guess if you could kind of delineate, again, like a space on the map.
We can show a conceptual layout spot for that based on, as we get in to dropping some homes on.
Yeah.
And can move forward and show, just show an area, something in the plans that you guys can refer back to.
Perfect. Trying to think of everything that came up and make sure I touch everything.
Maybe you touched on everything that you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean.
Everything I saw, anyway.
I mean, the road comes down to you guys are putting it up to specs, and it's up to the town whether they want to approve it or not. If the town doesn't approve it, then you go back and you got to figure out a different plan for it, for let's say the year till you try to resubmit to get the road approved again.
Now, is that like a temporary HOA or something? Like everybody pays a little bit to get the road plowed or?
I want to say I did read something in here about that. I can't think of.
It could simply be a road maintenance agreement document
Okay.
that, the parties that come off of the road would be subject to, maintenance and plowing and.
Because I know one of the things you guys don't want is an HOA, so.
Yeah, no.
That's why I'm asking the question.
Right.
Maintenance agreement.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
that's,
I personally, on a private road, have a road maintenance agreement with.
7 lots.
The 4 lots that we have and
Two now.
no HOA.
Let's hold the house.
And there too, you can put whatever covenants in an HOA you want to. It doesn't have to get as specific as, you gotta.
You got the fire department thing was the other thing.
yeah, we're not gonna.
We can't really do much of that. He's gonna be the one
Yeah, I appreciate having an
that you put the
idea of
driveways in, so.
where you think septics would go. Lot 8 is
He's gonna have to
the
go.
one that looks like would be a considered
Right.
field.
Hopefully, the next plan that comes in, the whole one,
Back
more,
lot.
Right.
more detail.
Yeah, I mean, and all of
I
these
think
have
so,
Right.
good depth.
which I know is kind of
You know,
hard.
Stay, I mean, just,
Septic here, house probably back here, you've got a fair, at least 100 feet.
yeah, I was gonna say those 3 lots, like 5, 7, and 8, that
don't
would
even
be
do
in
that.
front of the house, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
The well would be
Be
good.
okay, if you build that house,
Yeah, minimum.
5, 6 years to get any more, and who the hell knows where
Do we know
it'll
how
go.
It's
deep the wells are gonna go?
to me.
Didn't ask the well driller that, of what's in the area.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is an answer to that. It's definitely a couple hundred feet.
A lot of fluctuation there.
On the ledge.
I'm up
Yeah.
much further, up on top of the hill. Ours was 3. Just half hill. I know in your area it fluctuates pretty heavily from 250, I think is the least, to 500 is the most.
Right.
Yeah, based on the letter we got that we included in the application materials, he said well depths ranged from 200 to 440, all exceeded state well yield requirements. This is from what water well records, I guess, that are available to
Yeah, every time they drill a well, it's recorded.
recorded within the state. Yep.
Exactly.
You're putting in there, what is the capacity of that?
I'm not putting one.
It's not a requirement, Harvey.
It's what?
It's not a requirement.
It's not?
Ultimately, that got brought up because your fire chief and most fire departments are moving away from the open fire ponds.
Right.
And he felt, he wanted to make sure it was on record that if something were to be put in, then he wanted a cistern, not an open fire pond. Ultimately, what he told me was that likely any kind of insurance rate based on the distance from the fire department that would serve a structure fire here, based on that, it really wouldn't have any impact on the rating, the insurance rating, so he wasn't requiring that. And he'd be bringing tankers with water as well.
Again, I can't really think of anything else that we haven't touched on. I mean, and again, we've kind of beat the open space
Yeah,
to death,
to
but
death.
that'll be, we gotta get with the assessors, figure out what the fee is and get you, like an invoice on that. Kind of dropped the ball on that. I thought I had asked the
As long
selectmen
as
to
it
do
ain't my
that.
fault.
No.
I'm good.
My fault.
I thought I'd ask the selectmen in person, and then I forgot to follow up an email, but we will get that before any final plans are finalized. Anybody else, any questions, anything we need to go over before we do anything on this application?
Well, have we come up with a list of, do we know what we want to ask?
Thought we just did.
I dropped the ball on that too. I mean, the application was complete. We waived the two things. We waived the hydrogeological and the high-intensity soil survey. Everything else was submitted.
Application.
Yeah,
Okay, you want to see a driveway entrance plan?
yep. So what did we say? We want to see preliminary sites, well/septics, and the driveway off Maple Crest. Do you want to see more? Well, I'm sure you guys are gonna put all the driveways on there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
thing.
replacing the house.
Driveways,
Just a question with the driveways.
sure.
I guess just based on the type of house, I'm always gonna try to build a house where the garage can go on one side or the other.
Mhm.
I guess we can show them on the plan to what we think they're gonna be, but is it okay to, if you wanna switch from left to right?
I believe so.
I don't think so. That would-
Typically, we
I know, I just have to ask.
Yeah,
Long as it
Typically,
still
we would
meets
set it up as conceptual,
right.
with a potential house and driveway location. Have that little bit of a caveat so that if you change, somebody wants to come in and instead of split level, they want to do a colonial, you've got the flexibility there, and the plan just demonstrates the adequacy of being able to do that within the subdivision.
Trying to cover every.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong,
With the road commissioner too at that time,
Yeah,
if necessary.
right.
I mean, obviously you got the line of sight on there, but you're gonna, let's say you sell one one of the front lots and they put a bunch of shrubs up, you're gonna have to make sure that the line of sight from the next driveway down, it has a clear line of sight, X amount of feet.
In the buffer.
With
So
it.
what about the wood line that runs 10 feet off Fenderson Road that's in the rock wall? I mean, that's,
I started looking for it and I stopped.
throw myself under the
Nope.
bus, but
You're good, you're good.
it's existing already, you know?
Yep, there,
Part of the thing that we had discussed a few times is that we want to leave those trees as much as possible.
yeah, to have
Now we're
that.
talking about a line of sight. Those trees are literally, when you nose cut to the road, you're gonna be staring at those trees left and right.
Um,
Just saying. let's-
Yeah.
Get it all out.
I know it's in here. I can't lay my fingers on it right now. I know it's in here, but there's a specific line of sight. And I want to say where that's more of a level playing field, like it's more, it speaks more to like grades and inclines.
Right.
Of, you got to see X amount of feet,
Well, the beautiful thing is we're not on a corner, so
yeah, around corners. So,
have,
So you should have pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we could do a little bit trimming,
yeah.
right,
whatever.
yeah.
I don't really want
I mean-
to upset all the neighbors.
Too late.
I know- Whatever.
Yeah,
I'm still trying to be
you're
Right.
following the
fair as
ordinance.
possible.
You're following the ordinance, which is what we appreciate. So yeah, just, again, when you put them on paper, find the line of sight. Requirements and just,
Yep.
if it has to be right in the middle of the lot to create the line of sight, that's what we go with.
Yeah.
So again, building sites, well and septic sites and the driveways. Is there anything else you would like to make sure that's on the final plan?
We've already discussed the satisfying the open space requirement with
Well,
the tax
they're in
payment.
agreement.
Yes.
One of them
Yep, that,
is terminated.
I will take that on and make sure that we get an invoice prior to the next meeting, if possible, for the open space. Whether I have to call O'Donnell's myself. Anything else?
Just to make sure there's no conflicts with the new comprehension plan that's the town has put through in this type of.
We reviewed it. The proposed development is in the growth area. There was some discussion and dislike about that, but according to the map that's in the book, it is in a growth area.
Okay.
And it is allowed.
Yep,
Yeah, in the village residential zone with
yep.
40,000 square foot.
The comprehension plan, I think also for subdivision has things like you said, having the tree line visible or not visible in there as well. So I wasn't sure if you guys had gone through that already.
Yep, so again, they're gonna keep the, whatever buffer is on Fenderson Road, they're putting a buffer on Overlook Drive. It's, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, from what I'm remembering, it's really not feasible for you guys to put in a buffer on Maple Crest. Basically, let's say they sell the lot, the new owner can put in a buffer to block the houses in the road, and whatever, but,
On the property lines when
yeah,
as time goes on.
Once they own it, yeah.
right.
Okay.
Um,
Just making sure that was taken into consideration.
yep.
Cool.
John, anything?
I'm good.
Dan,
I'm good.
Harvey?
I'm not good, but I'm okay.
Good.
Roger,
Song about that.
right? So let me go back to what we need to do. All right. Where are we? Revision of approved plans, don't need that. I thought I had bookmarked everything.
Yeah. Took a bar in there?
Preliminary, all right, preliminary plan. Application, it's been submitted, procedure. Of course, it doesn't say exactly what we need to do.
Just
So-
accept, I believe it's just accept the preliminary plan as it is with these changes that need to be
Right.
done from a new plan.
All right, I'm gonna ask one more time before I have a motion for you guys to think about. Is there anything else you would like to see on the final plan?
Pretty colored houses, not shrubs,
That's easy.
pretty
Right.
shrubs, swimming pools, not.
Good?
I'm good.
All right. So I'll make the motion, but whoever decides to second it actually has to move it, and then it needs to be seconded. Okay?
All right.
So I'll make the motion that we approve the preliminary plan with the conditions that the building sites, well and septic sites, and driveway plans, preliminary, be on the final plan that is next submitted to us.
I make that motion that she just discussed.
Second.
that motion.
Any other discussion? All in favor? All right, it's approved.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing your final plan. You have 6 months.
And what we'll do is we'll see you a lot quicker than 6 months.
When's the next meeting?
This plan will end up being recorded at the Registry of Deeds. We'll prepare another overall plan view with a lot of the same things, add some topo, and then be able to show all of those elements as a overall sort of, lot development type of plan.
Right.
Just so you.
Need one to be signed too, as well.
Yeah, this will ultimately be stamped and signed and everything when it gets approved, and be able to get your signatures and put it into the registry.
So the next meeting is technically February 18th, and we would need stuff by Monday if you wanted to be on that agenda.
It's coming up Monday?
It doesn't snow.
No pressure.
Let me see what else is in the final, because that's a full final subdivision application, correct?
Correct.
So let me
Again, you
check and see what's there. I think,
you have 6 months. If we don't have a final plan from you guys.
I don't have 6 months. You guys have 6 months.
Right. If we don't have a final plan from you within 6 months, you have to, if it's not submitted within 6 months, you need to start over with a preliminary plan again. So
Yep.
that would set you back another
Okay.
application time. So,
Then we turn you over to the CEO.
I was thinking, I forgot the meeting was postponed. I was
yes,
thinking we'd have a week and a half, not.
yes. And unfortunately,
Have you leniency because it got pushed?
no, unfortunately, because of the shopper's guide and the
I guess I can wait
advertisements.
2 months.
Yeah,
I'll be in Florida.
yeah. well,
Around.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
First of March after the
Even the
roads are unposted and settles down for a second.
For the,
gone 12 days.
One good thing about.
So-
for March.
Watch our wells this year.
Yeah.
If there seems to be any possibility for next Monday, I'll give you a heads up and
Okay.
touch base.
Yep.
All right, thank you guys very much.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Well, now that one's over. Hi, Chris. Old business, conditional use permit 04047 LLC, map R lot 7, land lot across the road on North Road for an adult use cannabis store. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us, Chris?
Something I'd like to say. I know I followed Chris and I through 3 or 4 of these plans. I just weeded them out today. And through no fault of his, things went sour down in Keyser Falls. And I don't want to get into it too deep because I might. So I think Chris has worked hard to try to find a place, and I think he's come up with
A plan.
a plan. Good luck, Chris.
All right. And I apologize, I didn't put a bunch of questions together ahead of time for you. But I think the best course is for us to just go through each item on the application and make sure what you've submitted meets what the ordinance says.
Completely?
No, we've
No, it's already
already,
complete, yeah.
we've already approved it as complete.
All right.
That's why we're here tonight for the public hearing.
That's why I was wondering why we're going through that.
I think we just,
Crossing Ts, dotting Is.
yeah, I'd rather
Gotcha.
overkill it a little bit than than not, if you guys are okay with that. We've already addressed that the facility you own down the street is different and it's not addressed in the ordinance compared to what you're proposing. Obviously, with an adult use cannabis store, it will be separated from everything else, 21 plus, right? It's 21 plus. My opinion, it's a building. You could put a house on there, you're gonna have the same kind of problems. But that's neither here nor there.
Water's been running for centuries.
Right. Let's see. It is, I did double check while we were talking, so on the table of permissible uses, under commercial, the adult use conditional use in the village residential district, so he is going through the proper channels, submitting the application.
Perfect.
It's lot one, even before we do the road, that's kind of no, it's right here as a corner.
Trips,
Lot one.
15 trips per day. Yes, that is a lot of traffic. It sounds like a lot of traffic. It is a lot of traffic. No deliveries by large vehicles. So you're saying that you're gonna basically cultivate from multiple different
It
vendors,
comes by secure transport, so it comes in either like a box bin.
That's the bedroom.
like a Brinks truck,
Yeah.
The equivalent of a Brinks truck.
right?
To my knowledge, that's the videos for them, so. There's extreme security precautions.
Yeah, there's, I don't.
Satellite.
Well, you know what, adult use, yes, that's right.
So
There
yeah,
does have to be
the
video.
product videotape
Yeah.
by the time it leaves, when it leaves its production facility in the vehicle, and then it gets checked into the store.
Perfect. Good to know. Proposed hours of operation, 10 to 8. That didn't come up in the public hearing. I know that's what's allowed. Is there any chance you'd be willing to limit those hours
They're
shorter?
already pretty limiting as far as business goes, you know, not many businesses get told when they can open and when they have to close, and not many businesses get told that a seventh of the week is not, you know, so it's pretty sticky, but, you know, I live here, so I know that it's not a busy road, so we don't expect that, you know, we will do as profitable, I guess,
Right.
so, you know, maybe in the summertime, be open till 8, in the wintertime, be open till 6. I don't know, but I don't want to limit myself any more than we already are, just because it's very constrictive.
So I guess to follow up, if you do see that, let's say, like you said, 6 to 8 in the wintertime, you're really not seeing any business either side, you yourself would probably,
Yeah,
you know,
it
you'd
makes
probably
sense.
close and,
Yeah, it is the goal of this store is to be run with one employee, so, you know, if we can't make ends meet with that, then, yeah, it makes sense to not be open.
all right.
What are you doing for security?
Everything. It's very secure. It has a fully monitored security system. It has, and that's police, fire, EMS, all that with panic buttons and the whole 9 yards. It will be monitored by video at all times with a 90 backup. And that's just the regulators, rule. You know, the OMP makes that regulation, so we just have to follow that for our licensing.
Yeah, state law is very strict on all of that and has really comprehensive requirements.
Right.
For security, for video, for all of that.
And I know Marnie had a worry about light or something. We're totally understanding of that. I live here as well, so you know, we consider North Parsonsfield to be our neighborhood where I'm gonna live here for the rest of my life. So we are not looking to tread any heavier than we need to just to conduct business.
State law requires you to have motion lights outside, so the lights, and I assume that's what you're going to do, motion activated lights, so the lights won't be on
At all times.
all night.
And even if triggered, you know, you can
Angle them.
down rather
Yeah.
than
Right. Yeah,
And signage?
trying to think, what's
Signage, so
the night
the
sky?
cannabis store, believe it or not, is not our top priority here. The top priority is the country store. We produce farm goods in addition to cannabis that we're looking to sell, and we, as a family, having employees, you know, we want the benefit of being able to get coffee and a bagel in the morning, or Italian for lunch, or hot dogs or something, you know, so we're looking forward to that. I've been in cannabis my entire life, so the diversification of that income stream is more interesting to me than retailing cannabis. It's very constrictive in the cannabis business. It's not hand over fist money like people think it is. It's very regulated and margins are very thin. So we are more so looking at it from the standpoint that in the future, cannabis won't be sold in standalone stores. It'll be integrated into a gas station or a convenience store or something like that. So that's kind of our vision going forward. We are building the building to have 2 spaces, but that's only so that we can have kids and underage people, normal sales take place next door, and then in another environment, the cannabis will be.
Are you gonna stick to the building signage on the building itself
No, we would love to have a sign for sure.
and not on the road?
Yes, yes, we would like to have a sign.
Oh, by the road.
That's,
Kind
You
of
might
common.
wanna do a setback.
That's the, I mean,
so
Not neon.
I think,
no.
I
They
think,
have to meet the town's ordinance.
Right.
right, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would assume that would be more part of your site plan because signs are,
We won't be doing a site plan either, so just to be clear, the country store is a permitted use in the village residential zone. So,
okay,
I already have an electric permit.
Okay.
I've already worked with code enforcement. We have a building permit, a septic permit, a plumbing permit ready to be picked up. So
perfect.
Beautiful.
there will be, because like I said, that is our interest, is the country store. The cannabis is just something that we're not gonna leave that on the table, I guess. We're trying to improve it, so
Right,
that's what we do. That's been our income generator for over a decade here in Maine,
right.
so.
It's slowing down so much. It is.
Yes, yes, we're happy to diversify.
Right.
If
Go
we
other-
can- if we can put it all in one little box,
Go other directions.
that's what we're looking to do.
Jen mentioned something about an impact study. I have no idea what that would do to anything, but where we have the
She said that was,
subdivision and this one on 160, could we get a study on?
so I think we need to look into, I don't know where in the comp plan it says it.
Yeah.
Biggest thing is who pays for it.
Right.
I don't really
And how
see
long
any
will-
problem with impact here road-wise or anything, but I know our speed sign out there took a beating, and I wouldn't
Right.
trust anything out here.
Get run over.
Yeah.
And it is a state road and,
Yeah.
I mean,
Across from town hall.
Yeah.
And it is within another business that is the exact same size. These businesses are 750 square feet each. So we're talking,
Right, minimal.
right,
you know, and there will not be significant impact.
Really put everybody else through this.
Unnecessary.
After that, it's more of a discrimination.
I guess kind of circling back to security, kind of, to keep the cannabis side 21 plus, what is in place to make sure that it is 21 plus?
We'll have a separate entrance and it will be very blatantly and visibly advertised that it is 21 plus. When you enter the space, if it was to happen that someone walked in the wrong door, was blind, couldn't see the markings, I don't know, there would be one staff member immediately there asking for their ID. And if they don't have an ID or are under 21, they couldn't go.
And then you have the panic button in place if they get aggressive,
Right.
you know,
They can have it all, but it is very tightly regulated and our vision for this is not to have, like I said, we own a very historic farm in North Parsonsfield. They own a lot of road frontage here. And every building that we have built has been to coincide with the historic, we're history buffs ourselves, so we're looking to maintain the historic feel of the architecture, the neighborhood and whatnot. And that will be continued into this space. It's gonna be a flat facade building to look like an old time country store.
Cool.
So we're not looking to stand out, we're not looking to interrupt anything. We will be here for the rest of our lives, so we're just trying to make a living and utilize our farm.
Now, a minute ago, you said you're hoping to run the whole show with one person. How that, can you explain to me how that would work, running back and forth?
Yeah, sorry, just to be
Countryside?
clear, the store will have one person.
Oh, okay.
And then the other side will have one.
That make,
Good question.
all right,
Good
that makes
question.
sense.
Yeah.
I wish
That was stuck in my head. I was like, was he gonna run to a door and while he's over here selling some weed, they're gonna walk off with your store over here? But, okay.
Did you realize that street improvements mean you have to pave 160?
And much it.
Yeah, yeah. And Merrill?
Nice try.
We beat the topography and the soil and everything to death. Have to ask it, are you willing to put up any buffers or screening for 160 or the neighbors?
Or screening. No, not on 160. The goal is to have visibility from the road. It's a 6-acre field, so I could have positioned it wherever I wanted to, as long as it's 25 feet off of the
Line.
side of whatever.
Yep.
We specifically, with our neighbors in mind, even though Jay does not like me, doesn't like anything I do, thinks he can control all of my operations. However, I positioned the store in the middle of the field so that it would be away from his house, away from Marty's house. We're very understanding of that. We love our privacy too. That's why we live here. And like people have said, if I had it my way, my store would be downtown. That's not an option. We're taking matters into our own hands.
Yep.
I have positioned it directly in the middle of the field. It's approximately 400 feet from Marnie's house, and I believe 600 feet from Jay's house. This is not right next door to people's houses, and there is buffer of woods on both sides. On Jay's side, it is my right of way to another property I have behind there, so that is wooded. And Marnie does have woods on her side. It is logged on my property up until the line, but
The rest of it's gonna be hay.
yeah, it's gonna be hay, so,
Yeah.
a 150 horsepower tractor is gonna be going through there, and it would be difficult to have obstructions.
And not unless you're his legal counsel. So 11 paved off-street parking spaces, and I'm sure that's what the ordinances require. No plans to put more than that.
Yeah, it's a parking spot per 150 square foot of retail space, so, no, and, just to be clear, it's not going to be paved, so
Okay.
it will be permeable. We use recycled asphalt, so it is semi-permeable, if you will.
Right.
And I think it's what we use on our other roads, it works well, it's a lot cheaper than actually paving, and I think it looks more country-esque, if you will, and it's plowable, it's a decent.
It's rugged.
I'm seeing a brownfield market,
Yeah,
just a smaller version of,
trying to think of a specific right now, and it's escaping me, but, we'll never sell gas, we'll never do any of that. That's actually not even allowable for the neighborhood convenience store.
Right.
And the convenience store needs to be under 1,500 square feet specifically, it's 750 square feet. Eventually, hopefully, my cannabis license can be sold alongside all the other products. It's not right now, just due to taxation reasons, due to a myriad of reasons.
Right.
However, it'd be nice if that whole building could be the country store rather than country store and a cannabis store, and the cannabis could be sold right behind with
Right.
everything else.
Kind of like cigarettes are now.
Everything, yeah.
Yes, Paul?
With the parking, are there designated handicap spots? And are they gonna be marked and that kind of thing? I assume the state requires that.
Yeah.
Does the state require lighting in the parking area for liability reasons?
Sure, to tell you the truth.
Don't
but-
believe so.
Well, we're very versed in complying with state regulations, so we'll abide by everything. And,
Just something to keep in mind.
yeah, we move heaven and earth to be compliant always.
Right. Yeah, the term escapes me, but it's something like night sky, lighting. So everything's pointed down. So you have all the lightings, it has a good shell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's hooded, so
it all points down. So you have the light pollution, but it's not straight out directly at the neighbors.
Or the road.
Yeah, I dealt with that over in Spago.
I'm sure it'll be quite similar to what's out front here.
Right.
Oh yeah, I will tell you that, sorry. There historically always has been a country store on North Road. So I know it seems crazy now because there's nothing here, but
That's the reason for it.
Jeff's house, right across from the intersection, that red house right there was,
Used to be one.
I believe, called Hammond's Country
Yeah.
Store.
Yeah.
And before that, the SJ Wynn, the developer of my farm, if you guys know where my house is, my big barn, there's a flower garden right next to it. That flower garden is the original country store.
Okay.
Full circle, I guess.
Interesting.
Do you plan on putting a gate on the road?
Probably. We do gate all of our entrances just because they're all, we have 100 acres. We heavily regulate all of it. So it's all monitored by AI facial recognition, has gates, everything. So probably, maybe the last employee out will shut the gate.
Might be a good idea. You don't want people parking down.
Maybe, yeah, we run a tight ship. So, we don't allow people to pull off park, do any nonsense, we're kind of nonsensical as far as that goes.
Yeah.
And we're definitely not gonna allow any loitering or any of the such.
Remember, just to bring up a story, I remember when I was growing up, there's this old building in town that, there's an old factory of some sort, and they had a sign in the window, a neon sign that says gun trap. Nobody ever bothered the builder to find out.
Yeah, I guess that's what we said. We currently operate a cannabis business right next door and we have 0 calls for service. We've been here since 2019. 0 issues.
A lot of people lurk around these places at night, I'll tell you. Nothing else to do.
Yeah, just gonna say, they got too much time on their hands.
Right. Just in the essence of going over everything. So the well and the septic, is that going to be strictly for your employees? Is there,
There will be, do you guys have a floor plan?
I don't think I have a floor plan. I have the,
We may have kept it
Lot.
simple, so there's a floor plan. Essentially 30 by 50 box, split right down the middle.
yep,
One entrance is out front. There will be a bathroom separately in each unit, adjoined in the back. Those are just for employee use.
Yep.
There is an extra built-in amount of water usage allotted for to-go food. So we can do bagels, Italian subs, hot dogs, and such, and they can have a wash sink and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the septic plan is the septic is sized for the country store and the cannabis store's employees only.
perfect.
And that's all been submitted to Norm for the building permit and everything.
Again, drainage has been discussed heavily. The ability for the fire department.
Get our paperwork back for that.
So you submit that to the fire chief. So again, unless the gate is shut, the fire department's gonna have access to the
Yeah, so in the
give
past, we
access.
use the Knox box, we
Yeah.
can do that, or we can just give them a key. So, either one.
I guess that's up to you. Yeah. Probably whoever's on call will have the keys. Not create additional effects. Yeah, you're gonna keep it simple. You're not in shoreland, setbacks, you're adhering to all the setbacks. Okay, no schools or daycares. Ingress and egress, ventilation. So I guess if you don't mind, just go over the ventilation a little bit, just to clear the air.
Yeah, so there will be no,
Okay.
Couldn't help myself,
there will
sorry.
be no exhaust, so it's, we run all completely sealed systems. Obvious, people then say, oh, but doors and windows, and people open the door, yes, air is exchanged.
Mhm.
But, cannabis in the adult use, market is all enclosed in child-proof, opaque, tamper-proof containers, pre-packaged, and, you don't have to take my word for it, but it does not smell outside the packaging.
Mhm.
That being said, carbon filtration will be used within the space to alleviate any odor outside of the space, because we don't want kids in the country store next door to smell it. We don't want my neighbors to smell it. And the ordinance is actually smell at the boundary of the property.
Right.
So, that absolutely will not be the case.
Perfect. Let's see. So yeah, waste disposal, again, just go over the plan a little bit.
Yeah, there's very specific ways that cannabis has to be disposed of. You can't just throw it out. Tammy can probably speak better to the.
Yeah, so under the state law,
Mhm.
it's very specific. So any kind of cannabis waste has to be ground up with some other material,
Okay,
clippings or shredded paper or cocoa or something like that, so that it's less than 50% cannabis and completely non-usable.
okay,
And then it has to be stored in a locked container that's secured and under video surveillance. And a commercial waste management company has to pick it up. You can't just put it out.
okay.
That would be on this side, not on the store side, right?
What do you mean?
In other words, you wouldn't be throwing out refuse
Good point.
cannabis.
Good point. Yeah, so
You're not
obviously if you're
producing it down
retailing,
there, you're producing it over here.
yeah, if you're retailing product, it's not profitable to throw things away.
I mean,
but-
you could, if, let's say there's a recall on a product, something like that, and you have to dispose of it.
Gotcha.
You actually could.
A bag comes
It
in,
would be minimal
tampered with,
compared to
something
the
happens.
location,
Yeah, and all that gets documented with the state at any time anything is placed.
but disappear.
Right. And you said a waste management company, so it wouldn't be somebody like Melons, it would be like somebody state approved.
No,
Or
Melons can
Melons,
get it.
would be Melons.
Yep, and we do use melon.
Okay. You already talked about loitering. Training for employees, like that. So typically, so you said you have basically one employee plan for each side. Is it gonna be pretty much the same two employees? Do you think you're gonna have like a rotation?
It'll probably be an early day and late day employee, just due to the duration of the shift.
Right.
That being
10-hour day.
said, I don't know, I hope we can find 50 employees, but I don't know if you guys are familiar with the hiring environment. There aren't that many people.
Slim and none.
There aren't that many people, and there aren't many people, to work in these stores, you have to be state certified, you have to be background checked, you have to be fingerprinted, everything, so it's kind of a process, and I think we'll be lucky to get who we get, and yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, yep. I guess to the point, you're not just gonna throw anybody in there
We can't.
to work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right. So I guess to follow up on that, you yourself could be your own employee.
Yep, and I am.
Okay. So let's say somebody calls out, you don't want to close for the day, you go down and work the shift.
Yep.
Okay.
I plan to,
Right.
unfortunately.
You want to have your face out there, right? Security, we went over security. Video surveillance. And again, video surveillance, it's of the site, it's not of the neighbors or anything like that. It's for the locations, for the property.
100%.
Right. Hours of operation, no outdoor operation, so everything will be contained, everything will be sold inside, no outside,
Back dealing.
right? You're not gonna meet somebody out in the parking lot or something like
No,
that.
again, all these things are very tightly regulated by the state, so, to the best of my knowledge, nothing can ever take place off camera. Everything is on camera at all times.
Curbside pickup is allowed, but under the state law, it's
With my
allowed.
ordinance, yeah.
But that's heavily regulated, but your ordinance says no curbside pickup,
Right.
so there.
We're more restrictive, so you gotta follow us. All right, other licenses and permits, you've submitted your licenses. There's nothing else that we need from you for that, correct? Just the,
Yeah, my conditional, I believe.
yeah. All right. Yes, Paul?
How, see the scenario, summertime, biker group comes in, they purchase a lot, and they're hanging out in the parking lot, and they start lighting up or using. You've got one employee inside. What does the state have in place to help you with that, or is that just calling the cops kind of thing?
Yeah, before we call the cops, the staff member would lock the door, lock the facility, and go out and tell them, just like bringing your own alcohol to a bar or any of those other types of things, you can't consume because they're highly regulated. And you'd be surprised, people don't tend to do it actually. They kind of grab and go. I don't know what the reason is, but yeah, consumption won't be allowed and it'll be deterred in that manner.
Okay, yeah, first stage is your employee comes out and takes care of it.
Yeah, and if they say,
And then
no, we're taking the store, then.
Right.
Okay.
But in that situation as well, so you have the one employee leaving the cannabis shop, you still have another employee on the other side that is,
Capable
let's
of
say,
calling.
looking out for their
Again, everything is
coworker.
very secure, it's on camera at all times, so it's not like any funny business can go on. And the one employee is a goal of mine personally, just because, like I said, margins are very thin, so to stay profitable, you go into some cannabis stores, they have 5-10 employees just standing there, they have a door checker, they have a person they bring you to, all this, if someone fetches the product, and I don't know how they're making money, so
Right.
it is kind of my goal to have one person on the floor that can handle all operations, and kind of our whole business model is shaped around that, that's why it's a micro store, I guess.
Also, state law requires a panic button,
Right.
so if that were to happen, there is a panic button.
So, anybody else have any questions? Anything we don't think we went over enough or have concerns about?
I also brought a lease because the license is for 04047 LLC.
Perfect.
But that LLC doesn't own the property. The property is owned by the trust. So there's a lease giving the licensee the right to
Perfect.
And we do
use the
this
property.
with all of our facilities, just mitigate that.
And it is signed. For everybody out there, it's signed.
We went through
Sorry,
that.
Chris. Didn't mean to interrupt, Chris, but I just wanted to make sure we get that out there. So perfect, we'll add this to your file. Yeah. What do you guys think?
Looks to me like you're considering the neighborhood, which is really important, obviously light pollution, traffic, anything like that. And it sounds like everything we've talked about, you're considering ways to not involve those surrounding community as much as possible, which I think is appreciated. Drainage ditches, all the things. And a lot of this is in the hands of Norm now to inspect and just make sure that it's done correctly. So I just appreciate that diligence.
Right. And ultimately, no matter what we do tonight or in the future,
Right.
he's still gonna go before the select board and get an approval from them. And he's gonna make sure all his state stuff is set, because we might be more restrictive on a few things, but the state's gonna be way more restrictive than we are on others. Do you have a time frame?
We would like to start construction as soon as the snow's gone.
However, the state, like, the state has a lot of steps. So the way the state process works is that he has to get town approval.
Right.
So he's gotten this conditional permit from the state, conditional license from the state, which allows him to go to the town to get town approval. Once he gets the town license, then that goes to state, and then he has to provide a whole lot of information to the state. So we're,
It's gonna take some time.
yeah, we're
Oh,
still
yeah.
7 months away
Right.
from that.
So realistically,
Next year.
right, realistically, you plan to start construction as soon as you can, with the caveat of you gotta wait for all your final
Yeah,
permits
there's
before
no
you can
rush
start.
and no NT. So once the thing is fully built out, they come in and, stand in a corner and see if they can see stuff from there, like they're checking that everything is within compliance, so. Trevor's been through it just recently and knows that it's quite the process, so.
Yeah. So I guess for the board, any other questions, concerns, comments?
Can't think of any.
Can't either. Jump through all the hoops he's supposed to my knowledge, and
To go,
Approved here, it's out of our hands anyway.
right,
I'd say we pay it and move it to the next one.
would you like to make a motion?
Yep, I make a motion, we okay this and move it to the next one.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? We'll get you an approval letter.
Much appreciated.
Good luck with this, Selectman.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that concludes old business. We have no new business right now. Would we like to schedule a workshop for next Wednesday? Or are we all set to hold off until the next meeting in February?
Well, given the weather conditions.
Yeah, I don't need a workshop, but hey, I'm only one guy.
Right?
What would be the workshop, what topics are we covering?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Nothing comes to mind at the moment. I know we probably do have stuff that we need to work on.
There are a couple things that I was seeing in the comprehensive plan, which might be a good idea to move forward on. One of them is a more elaborate plan of the growth areas in regards to open space for subdivisions, which would then be more clear about what those requirements are.
Okay.
That should be on the application situation.
Yeah, it's in our comprehensive.
I know.
plan, it's listed as a cluster residential development ordinance that is set for the planning board to put together. And it calls for that within the, and I just think that would be a great thing to potentially move forward. There was another thing that I wanted to bring up was the public water versus without public water lot sizes. Someone brought that up in the last public meeting, and that does seem a little backwards. So that might be something to look at.
What do you mean backwards?
Well, right now it's listed as without public water, 0.46, with public water, 0.92.
Yep.
So I would think that should be flipped around, and I don't know if that was recorded.
Yeah,
Correctly or not,
Yeah,
I
or
agree with you.
Is that written down on the ordinance?
it's in the plan.
Right?
Hang on, we'll get to you in a second. We'll circle back during public comment, okay?
So just those couple things is what I was thinking would be good to have a workshop on, to start sort of moving the chains in those directions.
Okay. So again, anybody want to make a motion to have a workshop next week?
I'll make a motion for a workshop next week.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Second? All in favor?
What are we doing?
A workshop next week.
Oh,
Just raise your hand.
you want to be there, Paul?
All right.
Be able
That was my next question. Is everybody going to be here next week?
Me either.
You're not leaving till the 11th.
I'll be here.
All right, so we'll do a workshop next week.
Not till the 11th.
So Dan, homework.
Yeah.
if you have time, probably better to look at some of the bigger cities. But maybe just do a search to see if you can find any, what was it, cluster development ordinance? See if you can find one from another town that maybe we could pick apart and use, rather than starting the wheel from scratch.
Sounds good.
And then,
Any of the towns around here have really.
Right.
Try out a couple of, what
Yeah.
what they're doing in other cities.
you never know, you might find a,
They said sometimes
Might
you
find a
don't
nut
have to
somewhere.
reinvent the wheel.
so you said cluster development, and I'm sorry, what was the other, oh, the lot sizes.
And that, yeah, and I don't know.
Versus public and.
Yeah,
urban water.
so we can definitely do that. That would be whether we want to tackle that as a separate amendment or if we want to do that as a complete overhaul of the ordinances. Because we do need to bring the ordinances in line with the comprehensive plan at some point. And that's going to be a big undertaking. I mean, we just did the ordinances a couple years ago and that was quite cumbersome.
Took forever.
So, yeah. And we had help from SMPDC, which I'm sure we can get help again. Okay, so workshop next week. Jeff? Oh, sorry.
Hold on. So when it comes to subdivisions, how do we know if an area is designated as a winter bedding for deer? Subdivision stuff. So, and I don't understand, is that designated by Maine Inland Fishery and Game somehow? And we know that on a map or?
So,
What was that, Paul?
Winter bedding for deer in an area that a subdivision is going to be put in. How do we know where that's designated?
Harvey, can I borrow your book?
What do you mean designated as?
Oh, the next one,
As a bedding area, in the subdivision thing, it talks about
This one?
the black.
1,200 feet
Alright,
as a buffer away
Third.
from winter, anywhere where the deer travel.
this one.
If it's been designated by the Inland Fishery and Game,
I can't
but then it mentions
Trust your fingies.
winter
Oh, good.
bedding,
One
which
above it.
doesn't say much about whether the Inland Fishery and Wildlife have to approve that or not. So,
Yeah. I gotta get
Working
another,
at
I gotta get another, I got Harvey's. I gotta get another copy.
I might have one.
I'm gonna go use the restroom quick.
All right.
Can't do it. Can't do it. We haven't adjourned.
Right? So in the comp plan, there's a wildlife habitat map.
okay,
And it has, so the orange, like the darker orange, so you see these are like light, the darker orange
yeah. I don't-
are the deer wintering areas. So the proposed development is over here.
Yeah,
and
I'm
the-
just saying in general, not to speak about a specific
Right.
application.
Right.
But yeah, so there's an area here, here, that's down by,
Deer wintering area. Okay, that's, no, great,
Yeah.
that's,
for those areas.
that answers my question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Same thing with waterfowl, conserve land, high value plant areas.
Okay, excellent, that's in the comprehension.
Yep,
Okay,
yep, so
Actually, now.
there's a map for it.
Plan that because you can see where the deer jump.
Harvey,
Jeff,
keep all my secrets away.
I'll just go backwards. I guess the winter bedding is listed in the map.
it's on the map, yes.
So when, I know there's been quite a bit, a lot of tree cutting going on, like some big lots. Of course, it's too late now, but I wonder if those were in,
Bedded zones, yeah. Good question.
They're very spread out, and from what I could tell real quick, I don't think they're in the affected,
thing on,
I had a state forester come through mine before I did mine, so I'm, that's their responsibility to cover that.
right.
So hopefully other people are doing the same, similar thing, I hope.
Well, I didn't know that if the town is actually up, I didn't know that, but that's the town.
Yeah. Yeah, I think code should be aware when they issue the permit for the forest
Yeah.
clearing
I didn't see one.
or forest harvesting.
You go to bed yet?
Yeah, I'll mention that to him.
Almost.
Yeah, he knows, for that. Yes, Jeff, keep going.
Dan to come back, but, because he did mention something about, the lot size for, water and no water. And that's kind of backwards.
Yeah.
What did the ordinance say in October 4th of 2024?
Good luck with that.
So the 2018 version?
Yeah.
Minimum lot with public, 0.4, minimum lot without public, 0.9.
0.9.
Yep.
Read it again?
It is the opposite from,
It's the opposite that it is now.
right.
Authorize that change. Because I don't remember the town voting on that.
Probably clerical error.
That's what I would guess, is that it's transcribed.
Right.
Because you have lots in the village now that are being cleared, and one lot I know of is 0.75.
Right.
So technically, can't build a house there because there's town water.
Right.
Of course, he could get away from it by saying, okay, I won't have town water.
Don't lose that.
But just saying, small lots in the village now can't be built on because of regulations that nobody knows why it got reversed.
Right. Luckily Dan thought that.
Alan's old.
See if that's clerical error.
It was brought up in the last public.
Up in the last meeting, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Give him credit when credit's due. And there was something else that was said during the meeting, that, when you have a site plan review and stuff like that, and make sure that everybody, follows the site plan review. But after the person gets it approved and builds a building or rehabs a building, nobody checks to make sure that that person actually did what they said they were gonna do on that application. I see 6 board members, 3 select board members and a code enforcement officer, but nobody double checks to see if that person actually followed through on what they were doing. Sort of blind eye, I guess, but.
Well, usually the CEO.
Yeah, usually the code has to
They
go
get
in certain
occupancy
stages.
Occupancy permit, you gotta make sure everything was.
It is supposed to be the code enforcement officer that enforces and makes sure, because there is a clause in the ordinance that if no work has been done within 18 months, the permit is mute and they have to come back before the board and get reapproved.
So if somebody said, for instance, your employee is gonna park behind a building on the property, but they don't, who's responsible for that? I mean,
Is it, are you saying it's part, like a condition of an approval?
yeah, it's a condition that's granted, and the person says, I'm gonna have people park on, employees are gonna park on my property.
Okay, so if it's part of a condition,
Yeah, and then they don't park on that property, is it the planning board's responsibility to make sure that somebody follows the regulations that they said they were gonna do, or is the code enforcement officer?
the code enforcement officer.
So if the public saw that happen, code violation, they'd want to inform the code officer to come and inspect.
Yeah,
An audit.
and they have a drone flying over their house.
That could,
You could, saying you in the royal sense, a concerned citizen could email, come see the CEO. They're more than welcome to CC the planning board so that we are aware of it.
Yeah,
And they're more than welcome to visit the select board to make sure that the code enforcement.
yeah, well, I guess now that we have a different CEO, but the last CEO had, he wrote by. So,
We have 2 CEOs now. That's good. Well,
Right.
part-timer, but you didn't have any for a while.
Yeah.
and the other thing is, the applicant is gone, unless they get the applicant, he's gonna have food, do they have to get a state license, right? That's not on our, on our applications at all, right?
Correct,
It's just up to the state.
yes.
They have to meet the health standards of.
And signs, on permits, signs, are they supposed to go just in front of the building, or can they go in the front of the building, the back of the building, on top of the building?
there's ordinances, sign ordinances for that, I believe.
Yeah, there is.
Size,
It's on-
It's-
visibility, and that comes through the code officer, I believe.
Yes, that is,
It goes in front of the planning board, and then, well, it goes in front of the planning board too, right? That when, on an application, are you gonna have signs? You usually ask the people, if they have signs and say, yeah, we're gonna put a sign.
And we usually see.
Usually have them put it on the plan where the sign's gonna be
Yeah.
and write the size.
So if I wanted to double check, I'd have to
Go look at one of the old plans.
look in the old plan, so I could go to ask the secretary to look up a site plan review to see what that applicant put down for signs.
Yep.
so many square feet per road frontage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and every foot you can add, I think it's 200 square foot maximum, right?
So let's
Sign.
read it. So signs. So this is actually, Signs relating to goods and service sold on the premises shall be allowed, provided that such signs shall not exceed 6 square feet in area and shall not exceed 2 signs per premises. In the limited commercial district, however, such signs shall not exceed 16 square feet in area. Signs relating to goods or services not sold or rendered on the premises shall be, name signs are allowed, provided such signs shall not exceed 2 signs per premises and shall not exceed 12 square feet in aggregate. Residential users may display a single sign not over 3 square feet in area relating to the sale, retail, or lease of the premises. Signs related to trespassing and hunting shall be allowed without restriction as to number provided that no such sign shall exceed 2 square feet in area. Signs relating to public safety are permitted without restriction. No sign shall extend higher than 20 feet above ground. Signs may be illuminated only by shielded, non-flashing lights.
Isn't there something that says facing us from the front view? Is that the state?
That's everything it says.
Yeah, it must be the state then. Because I think they listed it as a front view.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay.
All right.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? 8 o'clock.
Somebody's in a hurry.
Video.
I turned into a
Past
pumpkin.
my bedtime.
I know, time I get home, it is bedtime.
My neck.
Drag.
So a little subdivision story. I lived at a large 14-unit one in Gray.